My name is Keith, and my topic, or my major claim is video games are beneficial in many ways. And my secondary claims to back that statement up are video games help people perform well in school, they enhance mental function of players, and they keep people connected in a disconnecting world. So my first secondary claim is that video games help people perform well in school, and to back that up, video games improve problem-solving skills, because in video games sometimes you need to have patience, or you need to make split-second decisions on what to do or what not to do in a certain situation. Video games enhance creativity. For example, the game Minecraft, where you're able to build literally whatever you want with blocks. And then C, video games enhance memory. You memorize certain fighting patterns, and like, for example, Street Fighter, or you know where to place your fingers if you're gonna use a controller or a keyboard. My second secondary claim are video games enhances mental functions of players. It improves coordination visually, and audioly, and physical movement. So you remember, or you're good with seeing things. You're good at hearing things better, and you move quicker. It improves your brain speed, because it stimulates your brain. When you play video games, you typically respond faster than others who don't play video games. And C, improves attention span and concentration for long periods of time, because with a lot of video games there's an end goal. For example, Mario, your goal is to get to Princess Peach and save her. And my third secondary claim is video games keep people connected in an increasingly disconnecting world. It allows for cooperation between fellow players, and strengthens ability to work within a group. For example, the game League of Legends, where you could be doing well, but you're not helping out your team, then you would fail because you're not working together with your team. It allows for the creation of meaningful relationships with people in different parts of the world. For example, I met a friend who lives in South Dakota, and I would have never met him if it weren't for video games. And it serves as a gateway for introverted types of people to socialize on their own terms. Some people have trouble talking to people in real life, but the whole barrier, like the whole not seeing somebody, makes it easier for them to talk to people and maintain, or to have friendships that they would never have in the real world. And there's some arguments to my secondary claims. For example, time management. Like, some people will prioritize video games over school, or like they won't pay attention in school and they'll just be playing video games. But like everything in life, you have to do everything in moderation. So you need to find a balance between school and work. And then counter argument for mental function of players. Some video games are violent, and they may encourage violent behavior, but a way to avoid that is to play games on the right rating. For example, T for teens. Like, you shouldn't, or if you're a younger kid, or if you're not a teenager, don't play the kind of game, play the E for everyone, to avoid violent behavior. And then counter argument for my last secondary claim is you're not able to connect with people outside of gaming, so you're socially awkward in the real world where you can't talk to people. But it's not a permanent thing. Like, you can easily you can make a transition from talking from people in the online world to the real world, and use it as a stepping stone to talk to people. And in conclusion, I believe that video games are beneficial, even though that there's some controversy over it, like not being beneficial, as it can get in the way. But if you do everything, or if you play video games in moderation, and you play the right rating, or you play the right ratings for your age, and you make the effort to talk to people, then I don't see why there would be an issue with video games. And
All right, Keith, organizational stuff is pretty solid. You've got a clear statement of what your proposition is. You identify what the supporting points are going to be. They're written as declarative statements, so I think that that works. You signpost them in the body of the speech. That works. You've got a set of reservation issues that you're going to talk about, and you kind of break them out and talk about them in a separate section. So it was easy to follow. I'm not sure that that's the best way to do it, but it was not unclear what you were doing in regard to those particular points. So there are some things here that you have that are right. There are some things, though, that are problematic. For example, I'm not sure that people doubt that video games can have some advantages. The question is, are they on balance advantageous? And you think you need to have some way that we can make that comparison. The biggest issue for me is that there's not any evidence that's cited in this at all except your own personal examples and some hypotheticals. You got hypotheticals about some of the games and how you might learn from memory. You anticipate what the other characters are going to be doing. You've got a personal example about your friend in South Dakota, and that's about it when it comes to evidence. Everything else is an assertion on your part. You say that people learn and their memory improves and you have to work faster. I'm going, well, where's the proof of that? That's just your say-so. I don't know that that's the case at all. There's nothing that justifies the conclusion that you're presenting other than you're saying it. And I'm not sure that your ethos is strong enough to convince everybody on those points. And that's a problem. There's a lot of reading in the presentation that is, like I said, I think unnecessary, especially since you don't have any information that you're reading. It's all just the argument that you're making, and that's the thing that you should need to read the least. On the reservation arguments, I think that those things could have been presented, for instance, at the beginning of the speech to suggest, here's why there's a controversy about this. People sometimes suggest that video games are a waste of time, that people spend too much time on it, that the violence involved in the video games creates some problems for people, or that there's the stereotype of a gamer who never develops any social skills because all they have are these online skills, and that's a little bit problematic. And then what your point would be is to say, let me dispel all of those things by showing why the video games actually have the opposite effect on people, and then find some proof of it. Now, I suspect that you probably read some information that suggested all the things that you're talking about are true, but none of it is cited in the presentation. There's no statistical information. There's no authority that gets quoted. And like I said, all I see are a couple of examples. One's a hypothetical and one's a personal example, so those are the least persuasive types of evidence. They're the least convincing types of evidence that you can use, and you need something more substantive than that. All right, thank you.